It is the Riot Podcast. Happy Thursday, January 13th to anybody who's listening on Thursday, January 13th. How's it going, guys?
2022.
2022, yep. How's your Thursday going?
Good.
It's a Thursday, so I'm excited. That means we're pushing our way through another great week.
Yeah.
Once you get to Thursday, it's all downhill from there.
I don't know if
And especially because we're not in on Monday, but Isaiah is.
But I'll be here. But, it's not that bad.
Oh, that means no
It's just
podcast
short.
on Monday.
That's right. But
Yeah.
it means tomorrow that gives us even more of an excuse to also feel like we're not going to get anything done.
That's
doesn't
right.
it?
Oh, man, yeah.
But Tuesday is going to be the worst.
Well, we
Tuesday,
promise
yeah.
tomorrow to give you an extra good podcast to give you a little bit more through the longer weekends.
Make it double the length.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So one thing that we talked about on the show today that I thought was almost a nightmarish story was being stuck at a blind date's house. And have you guys ever been on like a blind date?
Not a blind date, but just like a new person.
Yeah.
Like pretty close to blind date, but
Yeah, because I feel like that's almost worst case scenario. Is like it's already probably awkward as is, like meeting the person for the first time, and then you having to be like, because usually if you have an out, like you can be like, okay,
Right.
like if I don't like them right away, like it can be a short date and I
Yeah.
can leave.
or if you're at a restaurant, the meal itself gives you an out at the end.
Right.
Exactly. So being stuck is never. It's never a great feeling when you're with something you don't know very well.
Well, plus it's scary too, because like this isn't just like, oh, I'm stuck here a few days.
Yeah.
This is a quarantine
Yeah.
of the
And
entire area.
You're
and
not allowed to
China's
leave.
a bit harsh on that.
And it's someone else's house
True.
in this
Yeah.
case, which makes it even more.
You can't be comfortable.
No, definitely
Remember,
not.
like when you're early on, like you don't want to eat around the person. I don't know if this is just
Yeah.
women, but you don't want to eat around the person. You don't want to go to the bathroom around
Uh-huh.
the person, and like you're having to stay at their
Or-
place for days.
Remember
Yeah.
the first time you have a sleepover at a friend's house and you can't stay, you
Yeah.
know, like you're
Oh,
just sleeping
yeah.
over, you can't even sleep.
Yes.
Yeah,
You want
imagine.
to tell your mom to come and get you.
yeah, right.
You're like, Mom, this is a bad date, and I've been quarantined by the government.
Yeah, exactly. So I
More-
had to stay here.
Yeah.
More details on that coming up in the podcast.
Yeah.
Not fun at all.
No.
That
definitely not.
one is not a good story. We also talked about how Coinbase is trying to do something nice for their workers, and it was funny when we were talking about this. Essentially, they're giving them some extra time off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny because like we go to work every day, and I like coming to work, but everyone would rather just
Everyone would like to have a time off.
everyone would rather be at home, but we spend the majority of our lives doing something we don't like every single day. We'd rather be somewhere else, which is so funny to me that the story's about like, oh yeah, they get extra time off. It's just like almost like, oh, I can't wait to be away from work, which is just so funny. We spend so much time here.
Well, this is an option. It's not, you get recharge days, but they're not being very upfront about, well, then what do you get for holidays
Yeah.
or for vacation time? But either way, it looks good to us.
Yeah, and
Recharge away.
Well,
Yeah.
it does until you see that they that it's like because they work like 60-hour weeks normally, or like
Yeah.
so long and hard hours that are they say like even unpredictable. So before you go promoting the recharge days to your own job, think about how like Coinbase is doing it almost in a way like we're taking advantage of the employees in a way. So we don't want to take advantage of them too much.
Sure.
And if you brought this to your job, they might do the same thing. They might see it as a way to give a little and take a lot.
Well, look it up and see. But if not, bring it up to your boss. It's the word recharge week, and you want to ask for 4 of them.
Yeah, at least.
one each quarter. Make sure
And
you
then
get
tell
that
us
right.
how it goes, because no one's firing right now. Like, you'd have to be pretty bad to get fired.
Oh, yeah.
So you might just get something.
Yeah, they might be like, this guy really thinks outside of the box. Yeah, we
let's
like
do
your
it.
ideas.
We talked about that. We also talked about some of the protocol if you're going through a drive-through line and the person in front of you pays for your food, what you are required or not required to do.
And I think you'll really appreciate Isaiah's tone,
Oh, yeah.
his drive towards this. He's doing what we all wish we could do.
Keep in mind, just as a precursor, we're not going to tell you what Isaiah said, but to set the table, Isaiah is somebody who said he wouldn't buy an appetizer on a first date.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh!
You'll never
Bringing
get
That
back
sets the
around.
table for what you're gonna
Can you
hear from
imagine
him.
if that was the date you got quarantined on and you wouldn't buy an appetizer for the
Hey,
person?
listen. People would be. I think they'd be very happy to be quarantined with me. I think I would make the time very enjoyable for them. It'd be very relaxing. We'd hang out. It wouldn't be that weird. it wouldn't be terrible. Yeah, we wouldn't have any appetizers.
No, of course
Well,
not.
I love it too because it doesn't even come across like Isaiah just being cheap. It doesn't at all. It just like that's just what you think. Like,
Just the
no, why are
protocol.
you getting
Yeah.
an appetizer on the first date?
Exactly. It's the first date. You don't need an appetizer. You know,
Well, I think it
barely
says
You
a
should
lot.
have
show
eaten
you.
beforehand. Come
Yeah,
on.
I know, but we got the whole meal. There's
didn't
times where I
come-
don't even get an appetizer.
We didn't come to this restaurant to eat. We came to talk. We came to date.
Oh boy, oh boy. Well, enjoy all that and some more for our podcast today. And make sure you text and say hi and join us. We did a Riot after show yesterday at RadioU Riot on Facebook or our YouTube channel for the Beyond Chicken from KFC. So take a watch of that when you're done with our podcast today.
And we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
You were one of the lucky few who missed the riot when they were live. Yet here you are.
I also like to live dangerously.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
All waiting for the Batman to hit theaters. That's
love
the next
the-
big release, right?
I think, well, some studios might say, wait,
Sure,
there's other
yeah, they
things
disagree,
coming out.
wouldn't they?
But both of the Batman trailers look super good.
Yeah,
So I think it looks nice.
I've seen one. I don't think I've seen the other. The first one was enough. And just to be truthful, obviously, anytime Batman's coming out, you're probably just interested anyways. But then when with the people that are attached to it, I thought this has got a lot of potential. The trailer looks great, and now we have an official rating from the MPAA. They have decided what Batman will be. PG-13.
I guess I thought that anyways.
You did?
Well, R would be a bit strong, but PG a little light.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. That just leaves PG-13.
People are, some people online seem to be disappointed, especially based off of once
That
you
it's
see
not
the
R?
trailers. Yeah, that it's not an R rating because it seems like it's going to be, I mean, the baseline for Batman from the past few movies is pretty dark and, like a lot of how would you describe it? Like just thematically,
Yeah.
it's very dark, but it's always been PG-13. So it's like maybe this one takes it even a little bit further.
But I don't feel like the fan favorite R sort of superhero movies.
Yeah.
They're more R because of the comedy and the that sort of
The
content.
comedy and the language.
the
in it.
language, not necessarily just the strong images.
Yeah, and it's weird. As much as it seems people are just more and more comfortable with cursing with some language, it still would feel weird if Batman was throwing around the F word. I think like
It's a
that,
bit much.
Yeah,
It is. It's
that
a bit
would
much.
that would seem a little bit off, but it is rated PG-13 despite the MPAA pointing out it has strong, violent, and disturbing content, drug content, strong. It does have strong language. Just not strong enough to give it an R rating, and some suggestive material.
Sure.
So that does sound like a lot just to get a PG-13 rating.
Well, if not, with streaming and stuff, you can, I guess, if you really want a stronger version, they can always do a R-rated version and just stream that somewhere.
Yeah.
But that's what it's got. It's got
You're right.
PG-13.
That R-rated version is probably out there. So like it'll
be there
out
somewhere.
there somewhere. But it also probably brings up the idea that when it comes to rating, there are some hard and fast rules. Like there's a max number of F words you can use in a PG-13 rated movie,
Yeah.
because I think you can get away with one or two. And then like there's some like when it comes to nudity and that kind of like there's some limitations, but generally a lot of it is just up to the whims of the people rating the movie. So if the if Warner Brothers was like, hey, like this one's close, can we get a PG-13?
we just let it slide. Which
So that teenagers can still get in and whatever.
I'm jealous. That
Yeah.
means they've seen the Batman.
Yeah, right.
So it looks like when I Googled it, it's March 4th.
Yep.
So that should be the date the Batman comes out.
And between now and then, nothing.
Nothing worth
I saw the
mentioning.
Eternals are on Disney Plus. if
No,
that
there's nothing
tickles your
else.
fancy. It is-
Let's just all take it easy until then.
yeah, there we go. We'll just watch football.
This is The Riot. RadioU.
So this has to go down as possibly the longest blind date in history right here. We have a woman in China. She goes by Mrs. I don't know if that's, how would that be pronounced? Wong or Wang?
Wang, I think.
Wang. So she lives in China. She recently returned to the city of Zhengzhou from Guangzhou because around the Lunar New Year in China. And she says, this is her words in a post on the social media platform WeChat. She says, I'm getting quite old. So my parents arranged more than 10 blind dates for me.
For when she got home.
You see her? She's not getting quite old.
Well, I mean, if
She might be older than she looks, but come on.
they just want her. They want her married.
She has no idea. Her parents have no idea.
Sure.
And so she wound up going on a blind date. This is the 5th date. So the 5th different person that she was set up with. She said he was good at cooking. So he invited her to his house so he could cook a meal for her.
Yeah. That was the date?
Yeah, that was the date.
Uh-huh.
So a blind date at somebody else's house you've never met. Maybe your parents know him, maybe not. I don't know how blind date setups work in this situation.
Normally, we would say that's not as safe.
No.
But yes, maybe the parents knew them.
That's possible, but nevertheless, even then, I'd be like, I don't think that's a good start.
Well, if you haven't read much, but like if an area that you're at in China goes in lockdown, they really the building goes in lockdown. It is intense.
Yes.
And they said that his community area went into lockdown when they were on the date.
Yep. And so she wound up being stranded there. As of this writing, we're not sure because she wrote this blog post last week and said she had already been stuck there for 4 days.
So she couldn't leave
his house. And I don't know if we've gotten an
house.
update since then. So she's stuck with this guy that she just met. And she's been stuck with him at his apartment for 4 days straight. She said the situation was, quote, not ideal.
Not ideal?
Not ideal.
Well, I mean, that's the way to find out. If you do like someone, that's great. But if you don't like them and you're stuck with them. But she did say that he cooked every meal while they're still stranded together. So
that
that's
makes it
still
better,
sweet,
right? That's like, I got stuck on a deserted island, but hey, nice tan I'm getting.
And I love this dude. She said he doesn't speak much. So it's probably a little uncomfortable for her to be, at his place for so many days.
Yeah, but hopefully he is a really good cook. She doesn't actually denote that as far as we know. She says that he has cooked for her. She's not and it's so good. I understand why he wanted to have me over, why he was so proud. None of that.
Well, instead, you're just getting that he doesn't talk much.
Yeah, I don't think this relationship is going to blossom into much once she is finally set free. But
who knows? Maybe they fall in love.
Yeah, it does sound like the premise of a movie, does it not?
It does. A modern day tale.
Oh, yeah. It might hit a little too close to home, maybe.
Yes, it does. Just remember, if you're like, yes, let's have a date. Oh, I can cook for you. Do not accept that.
Stay
somewhere
at a restaurant.
Else.
Meet in a restaurant.
If you're looking for hot takes on the day's most important news stories, you're in the wrong place. You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
I have here an ingenious invention. This is truly amazing. It's called a bago. And, I go into that and now I feel like I'm doing a
stand-up routine?
No, I was going to say a shopping channel thing. I'm about to sell it to you. But
what's a bago?
What's that guy that sells the ShamWow and stuff? It used to be Billy Mays. He's died.
Yeah.
He passed away. Somebody else took it. Phil something.
Didn't they have a mic that would go along the side of their face?
Oh, yeah, that guy. The ShamWow. So there's the ShamWow guy, and then Billy Mays would do OxyClean and stuff like that. And there's the other guy, Phil. He does a lot of these things now. Anyways, that's what I feel like. But no, bago, it's a really great invention. But before I totally describe it to you, I want to ask Nikki, when you go through the drive-thru alone, when you're picking up food,
yes,
where do you put the food?
On my seat next to me.
Your seat, right?
Yeah,
that's where I put it too.
I usually have my purse, so I kind of squish everything in. I prop it all up.
That's where I put it as well. Now, what I'm seeing with the bago is that people will put it on their floor. Of the passenger side.
That's a risky move.
That feels like a risky move to me because.
But if you have, maybe
a clean floor,
a passenger though, or you don't want to put it in the back seats, and they can put it on the floor next to their feet,
right between their legs or something. Yes, I don't know. I just never want to. No matter whether somebody's sitting there or not, I don't want to put the food bag on the floor, even though it's a bag.
That's the dirty floor
But the
part.
floor is, yeah, right. I don't want to put, I would much rather put my food where people's butts go than where people's shoes go, obviously.
And normally on the floor, there's like an old French fry anyways.
Yeah,
I don't want to see
right?
the new fast food, see what its future looks like.
Well, that is actually ties directly into the genius of Bago. Now, Bago is going to require you putting your bags of fast food on the
floor.
ground of the passenger side instead of on the seat. However, it is going to prevent them from spilling. The genius of Bago is it's a seat belt
For your bag?
food. So you can't you attach it to your glove compartment. You put it like inside and it hooks in. And then it's just a seatbelt that comes down a strap and it clips like a chip clip to the top of your fast food bag. So then even if the bag tips over, everything stays contained inside because you've got the bag rolled up.
It's an interesting invention. It's actually kind of clever if you do spend a lot of time like eating in your car.
Or if you're like a DoorDash driver, this would be perfect.
Sure. My only concern is I feel like this is not worth a very high price. Because that clip, I think I have that clip already.
Yeah, but it doesn't attach to your glove compartment.
I don't know if this is very expensive to make.
I guess, the thing about it is it doesn't, you're right. It doesn't make it so that you can't tip over the bag. The bag will still tip over. But you just, we said it. You totally said it. You just get a chip clip
and
keep
good.
it in your car, and then actually you're taken care of.
The seatbelt is, like if you're on an airline, like it's adjustable.
Yeah.
And so you just pull it up depending on how big the bag is. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to look for, how much is the price?
It is $22.
That is too much money.
You think so?
That is.
You can't put a price. Think about how much money you're saving. All those fries that would spill out all over the floor.
No.
That adds up to $22 before you know it.
I'd rather hold the bag while I'm driving.
Yeah.
Because you're eating. Okay, that's why. That's actually 100% why. I don't put it on the floor because I put it next to
You're
me.
eating it, right?
Because I'm eating it as I'm
Yeah,
going.
of course you are. Of
Especially
course.
the fries. So
Yeah.
I don't want it on the floor.
You know, it'd be more valuable for this because, you're right. If you're getting food yourself, you're probably just eating it as you go. Although we could always go for more inventions that help us safely eat while we're driving.
Sure.
Something that's like the perfect size to
not distract us.
Yeah, but something to hold your honey mustard or dipping sauce close enough to you that you don't have to worry about it dropping on your pants.
Have you not seen those before?
What? Where do you put it?
They attach to your little air vent.
That's too far away.
It's not.
It'll drip. It'll drip.
You have the air vent.
You can't hold your hand under the fry while you're driving. That's using two hands.
You usually have one to the right of your steering wheel. You can do that.
Not too far. You know what I do is I don't
just
this
drink it
really
and then throw
isn't
the fries in.
Yeah, right. This can't be the safest, but I've done this for as long as I can remember. I have a hand holding the steering wheel with like a couple fingers, and the other fingers are holding the honey mustard, and then the other hand is free.
No.
So I'm literally driving with like two fingers.
Don't tell people that.
Oh, yeah, they shouldn't. But I've never gotten into an accident doing that.
Don't want to.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in the bag for your food, like the seatbelt for it, the Bago, they say that it is the $22 because it was a part of Kickstarter. Now it's an Indiegogo, and they say they should have delivery in June.
If they keep talking long enough, they're bound to say something that you agree with. The Riot with Hudson and Nikki on Radio U.
Good morning, Isaiah.
Good morning.
You guys seen the new viral TikTok?
Which one?
The
Depends
new
on
one.
which.
The new one.
It depends on which, For You page you're on.
The,
The new one.
The new one.
The one. There's only one viral one for what, this week?
Viral TikTok.
Got it.
Have you seen the new viral TikTok? It's a Starbucks. It is one of those pay it forward chains.
Well, you pay for the car behind you.
You pay for the car behind you.
Yeah.
And we have a guy who ended a 23 car pay it forward streak.
Oh, no.
He pulls up to the window, and his order was $6.
Yeah.
The person, of course, because he's in the streak, he paid for his. So the Starbucks barista at the window says, would you like to pay for the car behind you? It's $46. And what does he say?
No chance.
No way, right?
No
And
chance.
so, it's kind of one of those things. Did I do the right thing here? And the comments are surprisingly divided. So where do you stand?
I don't know, Isaiah. What do you think?
I am not for the pay it forward lines. I have ended them multiple times.
Multiple times?
Multiple
Yes,
times.
no problem with
Multiple
it.
times. It does not bother me. If you're willing to pay for me, that's perfectly fine. But I don't feel like that makes me have to pay for someone behind me.
Sure.
So there's been a lot of times where there was actually one time I was in a McDonald's line, and you know how in some of those McDonald's, like there's 2 drive-thrus, right?
Yeah.
And it goes down to 1. And so I let this older lady go ahead of me. I was like, whatever. Like a lot of times, like people are like trying to like force their way in.
Yeah.
I just let her go in front of me, and then she ended up paying for me. And the worker asked me if you want to start a pay it forward line. And I said, no, I don't. It was very nice of that woman to pay for my meal,
Yeah.
but I really don't want to take the chance of paying for whoever's behind me. Because I don't know if there's 10 people back there.
They're asking you,
Yep.
like, of course he'll say yes. What animal is
Yeah.
this
The
guy?
worst would be if
And he's
you.
like, no, thank you.
No.
the
I like the
worst would
free
be
food.
if they asked you, "Would you like to start a pay it forward line?" and you go, "Well, how much did they?"
Yeah.
Just the next order.
How much are we running back there? Is this like a $5 thing or is this like a $40 thing?
No
It's-
better way to make yourself look cheap in the McDonald's workers' eyes than to do that.
It's so emotional if you ever get caught up in one. And so I think people are in the moment with that. But then you
Yeah.
have to remember, like, that's not fair. What if, and this could be for a lot of people, you're like, hey, I don't have a lot of money right now. This is my one treat. I'm getting my one drink at like $6, which is
Yeah.
already a splurge.
It is.
And so you're all in. That's what you're doing. You're set. You've been excited. You get your drink. And then they're like, and would you like to add $46 to that because of the car behind you?
Yeah.
That is not optimal for everybody to have to pay. And I know people will get mad because you ruined the moment.
Yeah.
But that's not fair.
No,
Boo
yeah,
hill,
what-
boo hill.
Yeah, right? Some people.
I love I'm going to bring you next time. I'll be like, wait, don't ask me. Just talk to this
What does he
gentleman
think?
right
I'll be
here.
like, we're not doing that.
He
I don't
has-
we don't care.
He
we
has
don't
no
care.
heart, so he's.
It's not that I have no
perfect.
heart. I just don't. If someone wants to do something nice for me, that's awesome. But that doesn't mean that I'm obliged to do something nice for somebody else.
No.
I do nice things outside of paying for people's stuff. You know, I hold the door open. A lot of nice kind gestures.
See,
You
I'm
let
too
people go in front of you in the drive-thru.
Yeah,
line.
exactly. I don't have a lot of monetary kind things, but I just carry kindness in my day-to-day life. You know.
Wow, that really
Yeah.
shows, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
don't you guys
It
feel
does.
that?
You
It
can
does.
totally
I,
tell.
I thought when we first brought you in, I was like, man, this is one nice guy.
Kindness. That's what he's bringing to the
Yeah,
table.
he's for sure guaranteed to pay for your drink.
Can we heap some of the blame then on, and I don't know if this is Starbucks policy or if this is just what the baristas do, but the one time that I got into, I was at McDonald's and somebody paid for me ahead of me.
Yeah.
They didn't ask me if I wanted to pay for the next person behind me.
Oh, the person
They
just paid for you only?
They just said pay. They said the person in front of you paid. And I'm like, sweet. And it didn't even cross my mind. And then I felt bad afterwards.
'Cause you just moved
when I
on.
drove away, then I'm like, wait, should I have paid for the next person? But then it's like, no, I don't want to. Because of the person, what people are saying this in the comments and stuff. If you start a pay it forward chain, you're not actually paying it forward. You're just changing the price of everybody's order.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
not even helping anybody
Sure.
except for the last person, the person who ends it.
See, that person in front of you, maybe they thought, oh, Hudson needs something.
Yeah,
They
right.
saw you
They
in
saw
the
me
mirror.
in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
oh,
like,
for sure.
Let's buy his
They're
meal
like,
for
this guy
him.
looks a little unkempt. He's probably fallen on hard times.
See, we need to get his dinner.
Yeah, right.
So I think that, before the pay it forward thing started to become a trend, people would just buy the meal for sometimes someone behind them.
Yeah,
And that was it.
So what I'm saying is, I don't think that Starbucks or McDonald's or whatever the drive-through in place, don't ask the person that's next.
No.
Just say the person in front of you paid, and then they can offer if they want.
Sure.
But you don't need to force a chain to happen here.
I tell
And in
you
fact,
what.
some of the baristas are saying that they hate when these changes
Yeah.
start. So.
Why don't sometime in the future we're gonna have Isaiah just voice for you guys a bunch of responses, and then you'll grab your phone, you play the recording, and you're like, "Here, this is Isaiah." He's just say, "No, we don't want to."
Yeah.
Why in the world would I want to do that? That's what I'm saying.
That's it. I love that. You just play it through your speakers really loud, and they're like, "Oh, we won't ask again."
I just got a free meal. Why would I want to pay for something? That
If
doesn't make any
I
sense.
wanted to pay for somebody else, I would have offered.
Well, if you have to
Don't
end one of
force it
those,
upon me.
do not feel bad.
Yeah, not at all.
If you missed out on the next Riot moment when it originally aired, you don't know how lucky you are. You're listening to the Worst of the Riot podcast.
What do you guys think of this? You heard of Coinbase?
What is Coinbase?
Coinbase is one of the options you have, like one of the more reputable options if you want to trade crypto.
Oh, okay.
So all your Bitcoin
now
and
this
Ethereum.
feels right now.
It's like an app.
Yeah, you get an app on your phone.
Sure.
You buy your Bitcoin, you trade. It's a exchange on there. So Coinbase has announced that every year, starting this year, they are going to give almost their entire company 4 recharge weeks.
What's a recharge?
Per year?
Oh.
It's where basically they're saying about 1 week per quarter.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to give almost the entire company time off for a week.
So almost shut down, kind of?
For them to recharge. They say it is an attempt to balance out their intense work culture. So before you get too excited, like, oh, they're giving you 4 weeks of vacation just for everybody to have some time off. That sounds pretty nice and generous, doesn't it? Except that, no, it's because the rest of the year they're working so hard. Like they say, long and unpredictable hours. So this is to try to cancel that out.
So do you still get time off? Like this doesn't count as your vacation time. This would be more of a company-wide extra time off?
I was trying to find to see if they still had vacation days, and I couldn't find to see if they did. I assume they do.
I would think you would, right? Because that, like, then you couldn't plan. It wouldn't be right if you had like a wedding or a family, whatever, and you needed to go to it, and you're just not going to get paid. So I think this must be in addition to whatever your normal paid vacation would be.
For sure, because even even 4 weeks off for a lot of places, like that's not like an unreal amount of vacation for a lot of places. So they have to be able to have vacation days on their own too. But when I read this, like I was like, oh, that's nice that they're doing that. But it also makes me laugh that it says nearly the whole company will shut down. Aww. So like there's like a couple guys that like still have to work. And then I was like, dang. That would be like me if we did this. I'm like, I know I would be the one here.
Well, just to let everybody know, coming up on Monday, Hudson and I are off that morning, but Isaiah will be in.
It's a recharge day. It's a recharge day.
It is. Please don't question our recharge
day.
Yeah. Maybe the other people get time off, but it's not during. I mean, not everybody could be off at the same time for a company, so maybe they get something else.
Yeah, I wonder if they just stagger it somehow.
I really want to meet someone who works at Coinbase and ask them because they say, Coinbase is a winning team. Not a family. And they say it often requires long and unpredictable work hours. I want to know what their hours, just to compare it to what jobs we've had to see, like, is it really that intense?
It says a later quote from, I guess, their CEO or whatever. He says, "We don't promise 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. hours or 40-hour work weeks. Many days and weeks are long because that's what it takes to get the job done. Working at Coinbase is intense, demanding, balanced by deliberate recharge time."
Now, the other just little side note on this is the company is remote first. So most of their employees are already at home. And then you can choose to work inside or like in person.
Yeah.
But otherwise, for most, you can. Their primary way of working now is still remote.
Sounds pretty intense. Well, on the couch.
I'll tell you.
It is intense when everybody always jokes it's like those last few hours on Friday. You do a whole week of work in one swoop.
Yeah.
So I would love to see what a work week really looks like.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I like and one thing I don't like about this. The thing I like is I love that it's recharge time, and if it really is separate from your vacation, because think about it. When you're on vacation, is that really recharging most of the time? That's just work. That's just a different kind of work, especially if you have like a family and stuff.
Hudson's saying that because all of his vacations are right?
Family. Oh, yeah.
He's like, do I even get to recharge?
Even if it's something you get to do for yourself, it's like you still have to plan it all.
Sure.
And some people are just really good at going with the flow, but still, going with the flow at the airport still feels like work. However, here's what I don't like. I don't like how any nice thing a company always does for people, it's always like, it's so they can be better employees. It's never like, we just want to be I know like the company, it's all about the bottom line, but it's humans working for you. So I always like, it's like, we don't want to work the computer too hard because it might overheat is the type of attitude it's always with the companies of, well, they need time to recharge. It's not, hey, wouldn't it be nice if like we just, as a company, we gave people some extra time to spend with their families just as a gesture of goodwill. It's like, no, they need to work even harder during the regular time.
I don't think Coinbase is going to be the one.
No, right?
No, they're not the one to do that.
The front lines of
It's always because they're like, well, Coinbase gets like a tax break, or there's always some reason that you didn't realize. But if you work for them, then you're getting your recharge weeks. You get 4 of those.
Yeah, just before you apply for Coinbase because of the recharge weeks, just keep in mind
gotta
it's an
work.
intense work culture the rest of the time.
Everything you love about the Riot, plus a handy-dandy fast-forward option. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
You're going to hate this.
Why?
Everybody's going to hate it.
Well, aren't you excited then? I bet.
This is
He's excited to share it with us.
This is from Ireland.
Yeah.
It is a list from the Food Safety Authority of Ireland, where they listed all of the safety breaches that they encountered at restaurants in 2021.
Yeah.
You're not gonna like what you hear. I know it's an entirely different continent. It's across an ocean.
Yeah, but I think
But it's still gonna make you feel dirty.
it's going to be the same. Well, maybe not 100% the same, but like if you look up your favorite restaurant here, like you'll see their violations, and it's shocking.
You don't want to know.
It makes you want to not go back, but then you're like, but I like the food.
But the food's so good.
So
How
you
can
go
I
back.
say no? And
What do
so,
they have there?
So keep in mind, before we get into the list, that this is from the entire year of 2021. They had 59 enforcement orders served on food on restaurants. That's across the entire year. Ireland's a lot smaller than the United States, so we had way more, of course, I'm sure. We don't even want to know what was on our list, but here in Ireland, here's one of the most egregious. It's a restaurant called Express Fish and Chips.
Yeah.
It's in Monkstown. In December, the business had a significant rodent infestation. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's par
We saw
for
the
the course,
Popeyes
right?
video
Yeah, we've
here.
seen that.
Rodent infestation
But
seems to be common.
It also had the carcass of it. Okay, first of all, you don't want to hear the word carcass at any restaurant.
Is that a red flag?
That's a red flag. Stop right there.
Was it a rat though?
It was a carcass of an unknown dead animal. It was evident on the floor of the waste and food storage room.
Wait, why is the waste and food storage room the
Same one.
I think that's the red flag.
That is definitely another red flag. You keep those rooms separate for sure.
They say that one had a grave and immediate danger to food safety. I'm glad that got shut down.
I should say, but get a load of this one. This is a restaurant named Chaska.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Dublin. It was ordered to close in November when a foul drain serving the kitchen and associated areas was blocked. Okay, so it had a bad drain. This resulted in the staff toilet overflowing sewage onto the floor
of the restaurant. Oh my gosh!
But it doesn't stop there.
What?
I'm going to keep going.
What
I'm going to keep
else?
going. It said food workers were observed walking through the sewage and foul water, spreading it through the kitchen while food was being prepared.
No, they said there was no hand wash, food wash, or equipment wash facilities as a result of the blocked drain. So like the restaurant.
You've got
That's a lot.
human excrement on the floor of the kitchen, and employees can't wash their hands.
I'm sure this is like every restaurant, though. I really think we'd be so disappointed if you really got involved at where we're eating at and like what they're doing, especially since so many places are still closed on the inside. Yeah. They don't even have to try anymore because no one's going in to call them on it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you, like in Spider-Man, if you expect to be disappointed, you can't be disappointed.
I guess.
If you assume the worst of restaurants, you can never be shocked.
So they say, of course, customers have the right to safe food.
Yeah.
So non-compliance food businesses will not be tolerated. This is coming out of Ireland, though, for some of their more egregious errors.
Right. Well, we're not even going to cover the United States because it would hit too close to home.
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
they don't even close places down. They're like, well, why don't you just take a weekend?
Yeah,
clean it up a bit.
Take the carcass to the garbage,
Clean
to
up
the
the pipe.
dumpster, and we'll reevaluate on Monday.
You're not getting as harsh a punishment as you think a restaurant should get.
Yeah, there's a lot. It feels like it's more than 3 strikes.
Right.
The worst podcast with the best listeners. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
here in the new year still, as we lead up to Valentine's Day, we're going to be hearing a lot about dating and getting back on the dating apps, perhaps, and just trying to find that special someone.
It is the time, I think, out of the entire year, with the holidays and then right after, because you're like, I'm never having another holiday without someone.
Yeah.
January, when that rolls around, this is the time to get into dating.
And, I thinking about it more, in January and February, there's just not a lot else going on. So you got to find something to keep yourself busy.
I think that's good.
And so maybe it's finding somebody to go out with. Well, we have some new information on what might be a big dating deal breaker going forward that maybe hasn't exactly been in the past. And this is going to therapy.
Meaning...
People seem to really want to date somebody who is open to going to therapy.
Oh, and so is this person not
whether
open to
individually or together or both.
Even if you just started dating?
I don't know, right? How soon once you start dating is therapy come into the question?
I think it can come too soon in the beginning, but I guess it's more for people wanting to have open communication.
Yeah.
So that if you're serious about it, that the other person is serious. And you want to maybe head off some red flags ahead of time and stuff. So yeah, okay. I guess I can understand that.
This is according to a survey from the dating app Hinge, where it found 88% of singles on the app prefer dating someone who goes to therapy. 97%
That's high.
prefer to date someone who actively takes care of their mental health. Now, what does that really actually truly mean? Does that mean you have to go to therapy to take care of your mental health?
No, but I think just being open to it, compared to someone who puts on their profile, never go to therapy or something. If they're really
is that something
you'd be surprised what people put on their profile. Absolutely. Compared to someone else who's like, I love therapy.
Yeah.
And you two won't mix.
No, definitely not. But I mean, 97% talking about mental health, that's high. And 88% saying they prefer someone who goes to therapy seems high as well. But I mean, it would be odd. I can see to start talking to somebody and they're not open to going to therapy because therapy, it's not, I don't know that it's a necessity for everybody. But for a lot of people, it can't hurt, especially if things start to get difficult. Why not try it? Why not at least take an avenue if it's something that could potentially help? Give it a shot.
Now, if you're still really into dating, though, it doesn't say this here, but you are not supposed to date your therapist. So.
Oh, no, that's probably
as long
not
as
a good
that's
idea.
Not one of the options in this thing. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's fraught with danger.
Are you sure?
Say.
What? That's a problem? How could that be a problem at all?
So I don't know. I think it feels like this new thing where it's once we start getting serious, we better start going to therapy, each of us, and maybe some couples therapy. But I feel like for a lot of the people I knew, maybe not constantly going to therapy, but definitely if you were going to get married, you would go to marriage counseling ahead of time. I know a lot of people would do that. So it feels like it's in a similar vein where you just want to be prepared. And in relationships, they say communication is key. It is important to understand that you and your partner are going to have different ways. Yeah, right. You're going to have different ways of communicating and being able to understand each other, even if you do have different ways of expressing your love and expressing your frustration, and expressing everything in between.
If therapy's in there, it's expressing your hate. So, so it's a problem. But they were
in
actually
a safe space.
In a safe space where it's acceptable. They were actually really just bringing up, should dating apps be adding some of this on their own?
Yeah, right.
Because you can put whatever you want a lot of times, in your bio and stuff.
Yeah.
But should it be more
One
mandated
of the questions you can ask.
There's a checklist of things to see if someone is compatible.
Or
so that was more the question.
Should you be able to just get therapy in your dating app?
The Riot promise is that they'll always have an opinion on everything they talk about. But that doesn't mean any of their opinions will make sense. This is The Riot on RadioU.
So we were talking a few minutes ago about how in 2022, one of the trends that people, I guess, are just being more open about is if you're looking for somebody to date, you're more likely to be looking for somebody who's open to therapy. And then after we talked about it a few minutes ago, I thought it'd be a weird like an unexpected dating trait to be looking for somebody who's not open to therapy.
Sure.
It's like, I really want somebody that thinks therapy is a bunch of crap, but there has to be a couple people out there, right? That are like that.
It might not be that person's thing.
Uh-huh.
And it's more popular now to have it a part of dating.
Yeah, it's just, as we mentioned when we were talking about it, it's just, if you don't have anything really against it, why not be open to it and at least try it if problems arise, because it's just another way to solve your problems, right? But
I think with therapy, sometimes people think, is it there only for if you're facing problems,
Yeah.
or is it helpful to not get to that point?
yeah, for
to
sure.
have problems?
That's a great point, actually. Therapy can come in handy.
To head it off.
I say this as somebody who's never been to therapy, but I think therapy can be a useful tool to go to regularly, experience regularly, whether you have problems going on that you really feel are huge, or whether you just want to make sure you avoid them, like Nikki said. But I think one of the main things that fortunately is changing slowly and surely is therapy. For a lot of people, it's just intimidating, because it does feel like something that you only do for a lot of people if things are just getting insurmountable. It's like if you have kind of at your wit's end, you have no other options, well, I guess I better start going to therapy. But if things are just, I don't know if things are really that bad to go to therapy, but meanwhile, you're trying to keep all your problems inside and bottle them up in a way, that's not healthy either. You don't want to wait until the very last moment before you start actually voicing your concerns. And that's something we all need to think about in our own lives. When we've got problems going on, there is a huge tendency, even when you've got great friends and whatever, you feel like you can talk about a lot with, some problems you just don't want to talk about. You don't want to air it out. Maybe therapy is the only safe space for you to go to, but you're not comfortable doing that. You don't have the money to do that, all this kind of stuff. And it can be hard to find an avenue to get to voice your problems, to work them out, that actually feels like it's going to work. And so instead, you just wind up keeping them inside. But here's what I want to let you know. Before you start going to therapy, or before anything else, which are, again, all great tools, you can start talking to God, because God really will work as a therapist for you. That's one of the great things he can do, is Jesus will listen to your problems. And unlike a therapist where they're very well trained and like they oftentimes will offer great solutions, or it'll just be helpful to have them listen, for God, he's always going to have the perfect solution. And sometimes the solution is just going to be to let you air things out and listen.
And it's free.
Yeah, exactly. It is free. And God is going to, and sometimes God is going to be like, you know what? You could probably solve this. Like there's a way that this could be taken care of. And whatever that right thing is, God's going to have it for you. Jesus cares about you. He loves you, which your therapist doesn't, shouldn't, hopefully. And he is going to help you out of the situation. That love isn't going to make him, not impartial. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to be still a fair critic, a fair judge, and he's going to offer you the right solutions to get out. And he's just going to be that avenue where somebody can listen as well. And maybe God's going to direct you to go to therapy in addition, but you don't know. All you need to know is start talking to God and let him start to offer some solutions for your problems. Let him start to help you avoid some problems. Jesus cares about you. He's going to help you. And all you need to do is start talking to him.
The Riot Podcast.
RadioU. We have a guy here. He is a surgeon, or at least he used to be. Tell me if this sounds familiar. His name is Simon Bramhall. He's from the UK. And he used to work at Queen Elizabeth Hospital, I believe, in Birmingham.
So does that mean he did something that he no longer works there?
He no longer works there. The problem was, and this sounds familiar, so I think like this may have been in the news. It actually happened years ago. He inscribed his initials on 2 different patients' livers during transplants.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Why would he do that?
Well, it feels like a power move, right?
Yeah, it does.
Just like a gross abuse of power right there.
And it feels, because I was reading the article, I couldn't quite make out. Like, they just said it was 2. Who knows? They don't say how it got found out. Like, did someone a part of the surgery see what he did?
And they had to, right?
Because it's not like, because they say the one person, they have said that they've had a lot of trauma from this. And it's not like you can tell once your body's it's in your body.
Yeah.
So they must have been told it.
Right.
But it's interesting. Like, it doesn't say, oh, he knew them, or it was like a personal power move.
Yeah, it's just like, look at this thing that I can do. He probably just nudged somebody, and he nudged one of the nurses. He's like, check this out.
Look what I can do.
Maybe he's trying to impress somebody.
Yeah, in
I
the
don't
surgery,
know, right?
maybe
Yeah.
that's it. And his thing was that these were long, difficult surgeries, and it was a way for him to, at the end of it, just kind of like, look what I did.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of thing.
So that's his excuse.
And they're now saying that, he should be kind of wiped off from being like a doctor.
That's what's
at this
happening.
point.
So this actually happened way back in 2013. He was convicted. Oh, this is unrelated. Convicted of assault by beating in 2017.
Oh, that's not anything to do with
He
this?
has, I guess he has a track record outside of just only. Or I don't know. Does that count? That actually might be related. That it's actually a crime, and that's what he was convicted of assault. It sounds like. Yeah, I think that might be the case. Either way, he just now faced the Medical Practitioners Tribunal Service, where they have he's been suspended, concluding in a suspension order that would be insufficient to protect the wider. What? No, a suspension order would be insufficient. I'm sorry. And so they are just like, basically,
you're not a doctor anymore.
Yeah, he's not a surgeon anymore. I never want to face a tribunal.
No,
that you never want to do that.
I don't even watch a lot of medical shows to know, like, are they tribunals here? Or
I don't know if they call it that. I know it's a military tribunal.
Yeah.
And it just feels like you're never facing a tribunal and anything good comes of it.
Never a good
It's never
reason.
a tribunal, and they're promoting you. You face the tribunal, and here's a season ticket to the Red Sox.
Are you sure it's not like when you're working and then they give you a review and stuff?
Yeah,
it's
right.
Not like
I don't know.
that?
I don't know if the tribunal review ever winds up
Nope.
in anything good. It's just you getting punished in some way.
So at this point, which I appreciate this, because a lot of times if someone's in trouble, especially in the medical field, they talk about, well, should you be suspended?
Yeah.
So this was the big question. Should he be suspended but then allowed to go back to being a doctor,
yeah,
a surgeon?
right. Will he ever learn his lesson and
they said
be allowed
with
to go back?
this that it should not be, and so that's why it's back in the news, because a suspension would not be enough.
Right,
and
that's what we were saying.
He's done.
Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think you would have a problem if you knew if somebody inscribed their initials inside you?
Okay, come closer. Is it medical malpractice, or what does that fall under?
Yeah.
I will have a problem.
Yeah.
Because I will be suing everybody involved, because that's weird.
Yeah. Well, you know what's weird? Like, in a way, at first I was like, I mean, obviously it's a horrible thing that he did, but if you were the patient, like, you can't see it or anything, would it really bother you that much? But then I thought, like, if it was on your body, like if somebody could actually see it and they did it, if they stitched their name into your butt or something when they were doing surgery,
Thank you for
you
that.
would have a problem with that.
No,
so
it's-
just because it's inside you, just because no one can see, doesn't mean it's not a problem. Of course it's a problem.
It is.
It'd be horrible.
It's also then you distrust anything else, especially
Yeah,
if
that's
you
a good
have,
point,
If
right?
you're having a transplant, you have a long a long future of a lot of medical stuff, and if you don't trust anybody because this guy really did something wrong, that's what I'd have the bigger problem with.
That's a great point.
money
It's
will
already
help
hard.
that.
Like, not that a lot of doctors, they aren't doing great work, but at the same time, just as a regular person, it's always hard to trust people that just seem to know way more than you know, and sometimes it feels like they're talking over your head and whatever.
Well,
so it's just hard to trust a doctor in the first place.
You
and then
always
once
wonder.
somebody inscribes their initials on the inside of your body, you really wonder how much. Just the idea of them taking advantage of you, and that's just one more symbol of how they can and how you don't want them to.
Yeah, that's a no for me.
Welcome to The Riot, where you listen to us and that's it. It's pretty much a one-way street. The Riot. RadioU.
Today, let's talk about what I've replaced. If you have an addiction, you have a habit, you have to really replace it with something else.
You
Yeah.
do.
Is what I've learned.
You do.
And so what I've replaced hot dogs with for the time being, although I'll always have a love of hot dogs, is soup.
I think we also need to explain, though, it was his snack of choice here at RadioU, or like for breakfast.
Yeah.
So you were always just having hot dogs.
Usually 10 a.m.
Yeah.
You're so
I'd have
odd.
a
That
10
is the
a.m. hot
time.
dog.
You're so odd.
And then you moved on to soup, which they always smell really good.
Oh, yeah.
But to me, I don't know if there's a health change benefit
What?
from
Well,
hot dogs to soup.
I'm still getting a healthy dose of sodium every day.
That's
Yeah,
good.
so-
Probably lots of
A
nitrates.
ton of sodium.
But there's probably soup has vegetables in it at least.
Yeah, it's so
Well,
small.
I've been eating like jambalaya. That's got stuff in it.
Okay, I'm going to let you have that.
You're eating
Which
healthy,
also
Hudson,
it does
yeah.
also have like
Yeah.
sausage, so that's still a hot dog, isn't it?
I you know what? You eat whatever snack you want.
Yeah,
You
it's
tell
gotta
yourself
be
whatever you want, buddy.
It's
You tell
gotta
yourself
be
whatever you want.
some level healthier than eating hot dogs.
Again, whatever you think,
Whatever
we
you
will
want.
back
And just
you
on
up
a nice
that.
cold day, don't you just love snuggling up? You get a blanket, you get a bowl of
What
soup.
are you doing at work? Like, what are you talking about?
What do you mean? You have a blanket?
You're right. I do have a blanket at work.
You're not.
I'm not
far
cuddling
off.
up,
You're
though.
one step away from eating soup.
I just have it on my
You're
legs. It's not like I'm sleeping in here.
Okay, not like we should turn on each other, but you come in snuggling that blanket around your shoulders, and
It's
then you
cold
put
in
it
the
on your
mornings.
legs. So,
It's cold in the mornings. I want to be
think-
comfortable.
I've also
well, you
noticed.
wouldn't be cold if you had soup.
yeah, I know. I need to start
uh,
eating that at 6 a.m.
I think once we started doing the TikToks and stuff, like filming all of the show, I think Isaiah's gotten self-conscious about the blanket.
The blanket?
You'd only wear it when you come in here.
Yeah, I wear it when I had it on earlier this morning. Usually, as the show goes on, like the first hour or so, it's like every time, and then by the time it's the end of the show, then I'm like already
You're
starting
warming
to. I'm
up.
warmed up a little bit, so
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little better.
Yeah, so
Well, this
so
Trust
it's
me, I'm
not
that
self-conscious of
It's
the
not that
blanket.
you want to be seen on a viral TikTok wearing a blanket for
Doesn't
some
bother
unknown
me.
reason. That's not a problem
Doesn't
for you.
bother me.
This could be another way to stay warm then without the sodium
Or-
of actual soup.
That's right, and to get the soup fix without actually ingesting soup. So there's 2 new Campbell's soup scented candles.
Yeah.
That you could acquire.
Ew.
You'd have to get it from what? From camp.com. Nikki was just saying. What did she say? Hudson's soup smells so good
It
every
does.
day.
Yeah, I
love the
disagree.
smell of Hudson's soup.
Man, I walk into his office, it's like wham, right
Yeah,
there.
I hate walking into the kitchen after Hudson's been in there. I'm like,
Why?
ah,
What?
soup. Ugh.
What do you want it to smell like?
I want it to, I
You
want it
don't
to smell
want
good.
the nice
These
smell
are
of
the-
warm, toasty chicken broth or a grilled cheese and tomato soup that doesn't appeal to you.
Yeah, I
It's
could
always
just
the
do grilled
tomato.
cheese. Grilled cheese smells good, but just the tomato's a little aggressive for me.
Well, listen to the flavors and then
Okay,
decide.
yeah.
There's 2 limited edition scented candles. It's from Campbell's, the soup company, and Camp. And there's a tomato soup and grilled cheese and a chicken noodle soup.
See, chicken noodle soup, that smell I would be more. I would like that one more.
Yeah.
The tomato soup, I'm not such a big fan of the smell.
What if they branched out to more chunky Campbell's soups?
Ooh.
Like if they did have a jambalaya candle.
Like a potato soup.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have today. Maybe the baked potato and
I love your
and
soup
cheese.
stuff.
What? It's delicious.
So, I know you 2 guys might not be into candles, but what's really popular now is when you burn a candle, there's stuff inside, so
Oh,
it
yeah.
appears.
Uh-huh.
And so for this, you get a miniature snow buddy keepsake
Aw,
that will
that's cute.
appear as you burn your candle.
Do you remember?
Nobody keepsake.
Have you ever seen this? If you, I remember it being a thing when you would go to like a craft fair, which not that I've been to a lot of craft fairs, but there was a time when I felt the trend was you get a candle. It was in a clear jar.
Yeah.
And the candle was like gel. And
Yes.
suspended in the gel would be all kinds of different decorations. You
Yeah.
remember that? Is that still a thing? Or
I think it moved into, you can also get jewelry.
Yeah, the
because-
rings. I've seen those.
The
What are
rings.
those called? They're called. There's a certain kind of candle that was really, really popular because you get like a really, really like expensive ring inside
Well,
of it.
there was a chance.
Yes,
There was a chance.
there was a chance. Nikki's like, I never got one. I bought 15 of them.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's also, I don't burn candles like that. And so for those people who would buy a lot of those, you burn them really fast to get
Yeah.
the item out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're not really enjoying the candle.
See,
so
I was just thinking of like it would have seashells or a little Lego
yeah,
man
little
or
cute
something.
stuff.
You know, people made themselves and then they would sell them, but I didn't know that.
Dude, I love it. The Lego man, which would burn
I
Yeah.
definitely remember having a Lego man candle
in there.
But the thing was, if the gel would like split,
Yeah.
and then it wouldn't work right anyways. So
couldn't
then you just
have
had to
it.
dig the Lego man
I
out with your
run
hands.
through candles at the house because I'm trying to cover the scent of Jim, my dog
yeah.
Jim. So I run
you-
through the candles.
If you want one of these, they're $24.99. That's a bit expensive.
Yeah.
And 10% of the net proceeds from the candle sales will go and benefit Feeding America. And
Nice.
that's the tomato soup and grilled cheese or the chicken noodle soup Campbell's candles that they'll have.
I don't. 2 things. I don't need them because it
That's
already
fine.
smells like soup around here for me.
You're covered.
But 2, Isaiah, since you're going through the candles so quickly, anyways, you might as well buy the Gamble ones.
I
Maybe
know,
you'll get
right?
some
Maybe
nice
I
jewelry.
should.
Yeah,
Maybe
you
I
should
should.
get
That
into
makes
that.
sense. I'm running through candles day in and day
Yeah.
out to make my house smell
I
good.
mean,
so.
just make them work. Make the candles work for you.
Oh,
in
yeah.
more ways than one.
I'll let you buy them and tell us how they are.
yeah. Good luck.
You've made it all the way to the end of the Worst of the Riot. This show only exists because of support from listeners like you. Find out more and help out at radiou.com/donate.